3 on the practice quiz, which should be fresh in your mind. I know we just talked about it one day, but we did a whole bunch of problems like this where we were graphing. So who can remember kind of how we get going on this problem? Plot the points on the x-axis. So here's your grid. We're going to plot the points on the x-axis. Only the x's get plotted. So I see this number out here in front, and I will pay attention to that, but not in terms of plotting the points. Only the x's get plotted. Okay, bless you. So, what gets plotted? What are my x values? -1, +3, and -3. Would everybody agree with that? Okay. Now, what's the next thing I have to think about? How many x's there are?
3.
5. Now I know there's 3 dots, but some of those dots are actually used twice. They're squared. So how many x's are there actually in this problem? 5. 5 is an odd number. Odd degrees start down here. But what? There's a negative in the front. You really got to watch that. In all honesty, I missed it this morning when I was doing this problem with another class. That negative matters, right? So my picture should be starting down here, but because it got flipped, it's actually going to be starting up here. Would you agree? Odds start down, but when you make them negative, they start opposite up. Now, every time you hit a dot, so here we go, you have a choice to make. Are you going to just go right through it, just keep on going, or are you going to bounce off of it and go back the way you came? Well, how do you tell? You look at the power on the factor. Now, be careful. See this dot right here? That dot came from this factor. That factor is not squared. So I am just going to keep right on going and connect to my next dot. Now I have to decide. That dot came from this factor, which is squared. So I bounce right off and connect to the next dot. That dot came from this factor, and it is also squared. So it's going to bounce off, and I'm done connecting, so it just goes.
So, can you just go straight down, or do you have to round up and down?
Well, it has to come up to this point, and there's no sharp edges. There's no like points. It's all nice smooth curves. All right, everybody got that? Number 2, volume varies inversely as pressure. Now remember, guys, there's 2 kinds of variation that we're talking about. We're talking about direct and we're talking about inverse. For direct variation, the first thing equals k times the second thing, right? So height equals k times weight. Okay? For inverse, it's the first thing equals k divided by the second thing. So height equals k divided by weight. Now, what's happening in our problem? In our problem, it says volume, it's inverse. So volume, the first thing, equals k divided by pressure, which is the second thing. Same thing. When pressure is 10, so this is our equation now. When pressure is 10, the volume is 60. Now, slow down your brains. What does that tell me? If 60 equals K over 10, then K must equal 600? Which means in this problem, K is 600. Not the answer yet. We still have one more thing to do. Find the volume when the pressure is 16. So find the volume when the pressure is 16, and I already know K is 600.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do? I'm going to get out my trusty calculator, and I'm going to divide 600 by 16, and that's going to be the answer to the question. What is that? 37.5. So the answer to the problem is 37.5.
So would that be D equals?
Yeah, D equals, yeah. Okay? And then the last, or the first, we're going backwards. The first problem is our review problem. Hopefully you got this right on your quiz. If you didn't, let's get it figured out and do better this time. So 2x squared minus 8x plus 3. I need vertex, axis of symmetry, direction of opening. How do I do this? Negative b over 2a. So for our problem, 8 over 4, x equals 2. Which means that my vertex is 2 comma.
5. Negative 5.
Well, let me catch up. So I'm plugging 2 into my equation. So 2 squared is 4, times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3. So Jose, did you say negative 5?
Yes.
You're right. And which way does it open? Up, because that number is based solely on this number right here. And that number is positive. Now, guys, we have a weekend between now and the quiz.
Office hours.
There are no office hours on Monday.
There aren't?
Because I have to do PSAT. So I'm not happy about it either, but that's how it is. So between now and Monday when we take the quiz, this is all on video, so you can get your paper back out and go back through these problems one more time. They're easy, but there are some things you have to remember. Okay? All right. Monday and Tuesday we have school. PSAT is the following week. Monday is the practice, training, whatever. It's not the actual PSAT. It's, I have to do office hours. Okay, let's get our notes out, guys. We have not very many problems on our agenda today because I want to get your last test back to you too. So let's all get focused. And we're going to continue what we had just begun last time. So we have, I'm picture drawn and some points labeled and a curve sketched. And my job is to figure out what that equation is. What is that equation? Now, we've only done one of these, but look at the first example and see if you can remember what you need to do to build this equation.
Points, correct?
We need the points. So in other words, we have the points, we need the factors. So the factors, there will be 3 of them. Why are there 3 factors? Because there are 3 dots, 3 X's. Do not build this guy into your equation. Now we're gonna use him, but the factors are the x-intercepts. So that will be x
Plus 4.
plus 4, x
Plus 2.
plus 2, and x minus 3. Okay? Now, what is the next thing that I probably should pay really close attention to? Titus? Why, now I'm gonna find A, but before I do that, Titus, there's something else I need to check on, because this will impact A.
Okay,
If I have any bounces. So after you build your factors from these points right here, then look at your picture. Do I have a bounce here? Nope.
No.
Do I have a bounce here? Nope. Do I have a bounce here? Nope. So guess what? None of these have exponents. If it bounces, you gotta put a squared on it. Doesn't have a bounce. So, okay? Last thing is what Titus said, I have to find my coefficient. So I take the other point, the one I didn't use, and I plug in the y value for y and the x value for all of the x's. Right? And I start figuring this out. Okay. So 0 plus 4 is 4. 2. Now these are factors, so this is all multiplied together. Negative 24. So negative 3 equals negative 24a. So a times negative 24. So it looks like, watch it, it's actually going to be 1/8, 1/8. Big numbers on the bottom. So 1/8. 1/8 is not what you put in the answer blank though. What goes in the answer blank is the equation with all the parts. So 1/8 is part of it, but so are all of the factors. It's the whole equation. Okay, let's take a look at this next one. All right, so let's go through that same sequence. That was a really good sequence you just did of steps. What are my factors? My parentheses.
X plus 2.
X plus 2.
X
We
plus
could just do
0.
X. Right?
X minus 3.
What'd you say, Joe? Yes,
Is
yes.
it-
What'd you say?
Is it possible to just put X in
It's
everything?
possible to just put plain X. What is X minus 0? Isn't that the same as X? So anytime x doesn't have a number with it, you can just put plain x if you want. Now, I'm gonna leave it x minus 0.
Could it be x plus 0?
Could be, doesn't matter, it's 0, right? So we good so far?
Yes.
Every dot, every one of these has to have a parentheses. Okay, got it. Now, the 2 comma 2 doesn't have anything to do with this, because where do these come from? The x-axis. There could be other stuff in the problem, but the x-axis, the factors, are built from these only. Now, I need exponents this time, guys, right? Look, see this right here, isn't that a bounce?
Yes.
Square.
So that's gonna be a square at this factor right here.
Yes.
Oh, here's another one. So that's gonna be square on your x, or in my case, x minus 0.
Yes.
And how about this one?
No.
Nope, all good. So now we're all done, except we don't know what this is. And that, Kaylee, is what we're gonna use that other point for. That other point is the point I use to figure out what my A is. So I'm gonna put 2 in for my Y, and coincidentally, I'm going to put 2 in for my X's. And then I'll do my arithmetic. So here we go. 2 plus 2 squared.
8.
What?
16. Oh, 16.
You guys better wake up before tonight. You're gonna get flattened. All right, 2 minus 0 is, 2 minus 0 is not 0. Oh my gosh!
Oh, is it a minus?
Does it matter? Does it matter?
No.
2 plus 0 is 2.
Yeah.
2 minus 0 is 2.
0. Oh, it's 2.
Oh my gosh, I give up. Okay, so these are the numbers that I get when I do my arithmetic. So I'm gonna multiply all this. This is always multiply. So I'm gonna get negative 64 times A. And then when I divide, that actually reduces to 1 over 32. Negative. And there's the answer to the question. Now, there's one more of these, and we're gonna do it. But it's different because they didn't draw a picture for me. Right, so how is that gonna change things? Well, let's see. The zeros are negative 1, 2, and 4. What do we mean by zeros?
The x-intercept.
Those are the x-intercepts. So these are the points on the x-axis. That's what zeros are. So does that help me build my equation?
Yes.
Yeah. Now I know what my factors are. X
Plus 1.
plus 1, x
Minus 2.
minus 2, and x
Minus 4.
minus 4. Those are my factors because these are the dots on the x-axis. Okay? So if that's a dot, then x plus 1 is my factor. Now here's where it's different. Without having a picture, is there any way that I know, you know what I'm gonna say, right? I don't know any exponents, right? I have no way of knowing, so I'm not gonna worry about that. If I have a picture, I must pay attention to it. But if they haven't given me a picture, then I'm moving on. I'm not worrying about exponents. Could they be there? Yep, but I have no idea, so I'm just leaving them out. I do, however, have the ability to find my coefficient because they gave me this other random point. So 10 is my y, and 1 is my x. Let's see if we have any better luck this time. What's 1 plus 1? Yay! What's 1 minus 2?
-1.
Yippee! And 1 minus 4.
-3.
Okay, you've restored my faith in you. Good job. So 10 equals, multiply them all together,
6.
6a. And then I'm going to divide by 6.
So 5/3.
And that reduces to 5/3. So when I write my answer, I just go back, put in all my factors, but now I have 5/3 as my leading
So
coefficient.
it would be like always like a fraction,
Well, it's often a fraction, it doesn't have to be, but when I'm randomly making problems up, yeah. Okay, 2.3 just ended. So that homework is due on Tuesday. 2.3 is due on Tuesday. I think it must be easy because I've already had a bunch of kids turn it in. So I think it's pretty easy, but it's due on Tuesday. Now we're moving on to 2.4. I know it's not labeled. You can label it if you wish. We're starting, number 3 starts 2.4. And it says factor and sketch. Now, on Monday, you're going to sketch on your quiz. Why does this problem look different than what we're doing on Monday?
It has a cube.
Well, all the graphing that we've done, haven't we started with parentheses? And are those parentheses important?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's where I get my x-intercepts. I can't graph without the x-intercepts. So the first thing I must do is factor this problem. All right, you know how to do this. We've already done it. We're gonna factor by grouping. So we'll group these two together. What can I take out of those two?
x2.
X squared. What will I have left? X minus 4. Okay. Now what? What can I take out of here?
Nothing.
Negative.
I'll take out a -1. Anytime that's a minus here, look where I'm pointing. Anytime that's a minus, go ahead and pull out that negative. So in this case, I can't take anything else out, so I'll just say -1. And then what's left? A positive x and a -4. Because when you pull out the negative, the signs change. Oh, no, we're not done, but we are doing well because we have a match, which is exactly what has to happen. So there's my match. Now, what did I factor out? I factored out an x squared and a -1. Tell me about x squared minus 1. X plus 1, x minus 1. Jose, sit up. This is called the difference of squares. It's going to happen over and over again. You got to make sure you can do it. Now, guys, are we ready to graph now? Is it factored?
Yes.
Ready to graph. So on my x-axis is going to have a dot at +4, always label, -1, and +1. Because now it looks just like the ones we did before, right? Is anything squared? Do I have any negative out here to worry about? This is as easy a sketch as we can do. It's a cube. Cubes start where? Down. So I'm going to start down here. And since nothing is squared, every time I hit one of my points, what am I gonna do? Go through and connect. Go through and connect. So here we go. Go through, connect, go through, connect, and there we go. That's it. Easy, easy. All right, we gotta get through two more, and then we're gonna get our test back. All right, so here's the next one. Take a look at it. And let's see, someone that I don't normally hear from. Let's see. Stella! What am I gonna do with this problem?
Factor it out.
What am I gonna factor?
The x's.
What am I gonna do, honey?
Factor out the x's.
What am I gonna factor out of here? X what?
X to the second.
Yep, I'm gonna take out an x second, x squared, and I'm gonna be left with what, Stella?
X plus 2.
Perfect. Okay, Quigley. What's happening here?
You can factor out the negative 4,
Yep, and what's that gonna leave me with?
x plus 3.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Everybody keeping up? Notice that Stella and Lucas both got an x plus 3 parentheses. So we'll write it down. And then the stuff they took out was x squared minus 4. Well, what can you tell me about x squared minus 4?
It can be split up into x plus 2 and x minus 4.
Yes, it's the difference of squares. It's gonna happen all the time. Are we done? Factoring?
Yes.
So now we're ready to graph it. This is another easy one, and when I say that, what I mean is there's no negative out here to worry about, and there's no powers to worry about. So I'm gonna put my dots on my picture, and then we're gonna start connecting them. So here we go. -3, -2, and 2. Now, when I say I'm gonna connect the dots, I gotta figure out where to start. Bottom. Why am I starting at the bottom? Because it's x cubed.
And it's positive.
And yeah, and this is where x cubes start. They start down here. Since nothing is squared, I'm going to pass through, connect, pass through, connect. Just done. Easy. All right. One more today.
Yep.
Oh. Mr. Long noticed that the whole problem can have a 2 pulled out from it.
Yes.
So we can do that. We can pull a 2 out of the whole problem. And then basically, what we need to concern ourselves with now is this part that's in the parentheses. So the 2 must stay, but I don't have to do anything with it until I'm done with all this. Okay, so don't worry about the 2. So I'm kind of just gonna ignore that for a moment. And now I'm gonna do this. So what can I do with my first 2 terms? Take out an x squared. Oh, wait, that should be,
-1.
I took out a 2. You guys let me get away with murder here. I took out a 2. That's x cubed minus x squared minus 4x plus 4. Do I have it right now?
Yes.
Okay, so that's gonna be x minus 1 if I take out the x squared. Alright, now what? What can I do here?
Take out 8, -8. Four.
We already took out the 2, so this is what we have left.
Negative 4.
So take out a -4. Remember a minute ago I said if that guy's negative, always take the negative out with whatever number, so in this case it's gonna be a -4. And that's gonna leave me with a positive x and a -1, which is really good news because now they match. So I have my 2, now I have an x minus 1 and an x squared minus 4. So there's a lot going on there. I have my 2 that you took out in the beginning. I have my match, which is the x minus 1. And then I have the leftover part, which is x squared minus 4. Now, what do you notice about x squared minus 4? X plus 2, x minus 2. So now your problem is completely factored. This 2 that we've been dragging along since the beginning, does it get plotted? No. No. In fact, I don't even care about it unless it's negative. If it's negative, I have to be careful. But if it's a positive 2, okay, I have a positive 2 in my problem. So my dots, my x-intercepts, my zeros are gonna be at 1, -2, and 2. Is this one also an x cubed? Yep. Do I have any bounces or anything funky going on? So just like the last 2, we're gonna start down here. Pass through, connect, pass through, connect.
What is the x2 mean?
What x2?
Oh,
Okay? All right, let's pause there. We'll pick up here next time. I want to go ahead and get your test back to you.